remember, I got bone on bone hip, guys. Bone on bone hip. No pain, and I have a labrum tear, 180 degrees. Okay, so this is what's possible even with bone on bone. What I'm going to show you today is the 5 key principles for getting you to be able to squat low, okay? Not only is this going to get you to be able to squat low, but it's also just going to open your mobility up in multiple ways with the stretches I'm going to show you. Now, how I know this works is because for the last basically 7 years, my hips are basically bone on bone. I was born with a severe cam impingement in my hip, and the femur head basically instead of being shaped round, it was shaped more oval. So I didn't really have much internal rotation in my entire life. You know, if I could only squat like down to here. And recently, I'm going to show you how far I've got too, but I also, the last basically 8 months, about 8 months ago, I had a bad bike fall, fractured my hip, and then I kept trying to stretch and tense in the wrong way, and I ended up tearing my labrum 180 degrees. So 8 months later now, my flexibility from a squatting position and just overall flexibility in general is better than it's ever been, because I had to be very disciplined and figure out exactly how to stretch to take the pressure off but to open my body up. So I'm going to go through basically these 5 principles of being able to squat low. So we're going to start with that right now. So I learned this online from a very good PT, very good with mobility, Garrett. I can never pronounce his last name, but we're going to put a link to his site. And I learned this off here, and it's basically, everyone pretty much knows what a W sit is, where you come here like this, and then you go back into this position. He starts people off with a single leg W sit to get their internal rotation. What you have to understand is, like, the lower, when you start squatting down low and you start getting into this position here, okay, and I've never been able to get this low. So this is a big improvement. And it's all because of this internal rotation. But when you start going down low, look at this. The hip's going to internally rotate this way, right? Here's my pelvis. It's going to start internally rotating as I go down into that low position. So if you don't have your internal rotators, the flexibility in those, which, like I said, cam impingement, when you have a severe one like mine, it's very hard to get it to internally rotate. And Garrett had the similar issue to me. So this is what he came up with. So I'm going to show you this here. So rather than doing a W sit double legged, we're going to do it single leg. So we're going to get in this position here. We're going to turn our foot out like so. And we're going to keep this foot flat. So this is just there for balance. And when I started, no joke, I was about this high. I could only get about this far back. That's it. Okay? And so now, if we look, I can comfortably get down to about here, and you really want to keep the back arched, and I think about trying to lift my knee off the floor. And I hold it for 4, then I come back up. I come down. And a good way to think about this exercise is a better way to do a 90-90 stretch. I've done that for years. It's done absolutely nothing for my internal rotation. And basically, if you can get your butt to touch or very close to the floor, you're going to easily be able to do a 90-90 stretch. If you tuck like this, you're going to take the pressure off. You want to keep the acetabulum and femur head as lengthened as possible. Well, how do you do that? You got to stick the butt back. So I'm going to lock that pelvis so my hip doesn't move, and then I can really stretch it. If I'm here, not good. It goes more to the front. If I'm here, when you do this, you want to feel this in the side of your butt. Keep in mind that anyone who's injured in their lower body or their low back, I don't start with any stretches until they pass phase 1, and then phase 2, they have to get very close to passing phase 2 with my glute and groin tests and have everything balanced out between the glutes and the groin, because that's what takes the pressure off the compensations. And if you start stretching when you have these injuries and these compensations, all you're going to do is get hurt worse. So we have a website app on that, or you can work with me directly in order to fix these issues, and then you can do stretches like this. So principle number 2 with a low squat is hamstring flexibility. For years, I've seen athletes in my gym, when they squat down, you'll get someone with really tight hamstrings, and when they get here, you'll see them round forward like this, instead of being able to stay, with the butt lifted this way. To me, that all comes down to hamstring flexibility. People that have the app now, we are going to put these stretches into phase 2, so you'll have that there as well. All right, so with the hamstrings, lock your knees out and squeeze your quads. The key is to keep the back arch. Before this injury, I would always stretch my hamstrings. I could touch the floor with my legs straight here. I could grab underneath. Right now that hurts, so I gotta just watch it. But what I found is always trying to go only as far as you can keep your back arch and your quads squeezed. And my goal is to be able to get a little bit below parallel. That's what I'm going to try to work to over time. But I'm squeezing my quads and then I'm really keeping my butt high. Why? Again, I'm trying to take the slack out of the acetabulum. Okay, that's the little cup where your femur head sits in. I'm trying to get that to go this way so that femur head really gets pulled and locked, so I fully stretch everything all the way up to my glutes. So what I like doing is squeeze. I hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I relax. And I usually do this just twice a week. And I do, with these stretches, even that one over there, I'll hold for 4, I'll release, I'll do 5 reps, okay? And so this is my wife here. She's really flexible in the hamstrings. Go ahead. So she can keep her back, pretty arched, low below. Yep. Now show the other one. This is what a lot of people do. And I always say if your hamstrings are loose, then you have no problem doing this exercise here. Go ahead down. And look at how flat she can keep her back. And she can go all the way down. It's because of her hamstrings, but also because of her groin. And that's what we're going to show you next. So next on the list is groin flexibility. Now, the most important thing is stretching the groin out with some degree of internal rotation, because like I said, internal rotation is what affects your ability to squat low. Okay, if your hip doesn't internally rotate, like you saw with mine, you're not going to be able to squat low. So we're going to go here like this, okay? And I start people off. You want to get your ankles, basically the front of your ankle in line with the front of your knee. So we're going to create internal rotation. And you really want to try to flatten over time, try to get this heel flat to the floor here. But when you start, if you need to lift it a little bit, that's fine. So just keep that in mind. And the secret to this is you start where you can arch your back and keep your hips, the front of your hip, the top of your hip bone here, in line with the front of your knee. That's the key. If you're here, you're going to lose the internal rotation. So I had to start like this. Okay, because when I would go down, there would just be severe pain in my hip with the bone on bone and the labrum tear. So I started like so. And then eventually, and what you want to do is you want to feel like you're pushing out with your knees this way. Push out so your glute turns on. So we're here, push out, arch the back. Push out, arch the back. And then as you get better, you work your way down. And you can, when I push out, I'm holding 1, 2, 3, 4, release. Push out. 1, 2, 3, 4, release. And again, if you can't arch your back, then you start here. And then, once this feels easy, you can get your chest down to the floor like so. Then you start going wider in that same position. So now I widen myself out. And then now I'm down, my back's arched, and I'm simply just working my way out wider and wider down to the floor. And you have to go crazy. You just want to get to an optimal level. So one of the things that I took from knee over toes, a lot of the stuff I think is good, but it's very dangerous. It's impractical. A lot of the levels that it gets to, you don't need to do that if you're an athlete. You don't need to do that if you're human. If that's what you want to do and that's what you like doing, that's fine. But I just think for most people, it's a little bit dangerous and a little bit extreme, and you can end up getting hurt. But what I really like from this program that I think is great for getting your ankle and knee mobility, and that's the neck. A lot of people, what they do is they struggle when they get low into the squat position here. When they get low here, they struggle because their ankle, or they don't have the knee flexibility either, okay? So I really like his, it's very simple. I get 2 dumbbells like so. And all I do is I try to get my butt down to my heel where it's comfortable. And then I release it. Butt down to the heel where it's comfortable. And then I release it. Okay, and as you get better, and some people might start off because it's just their ankle mobility is so bad, they start here. But I just think this is just a great general exercise here, just for, you really want to focus when you're doing this on keeping the knee in line with these 2 middle toes here. So when I come down here, I'm staying, I'm not letting this come here. This is draw a straight line down, I'm moving on this plane right here. So if you have ankle mobility issues, that exercise we showed you is going to help, but it's only going to get you so far. You really need to combine that with what we call donkey calves. And what this does is really stretches out the Achilles, stretches out the calves, and allows you, in order to, when you're doing that deep squat, to be able to get low without your ankles affecting you. So the last piece is actually training the squat. But if you don't have all these other pieces where they need to be, squat will never open up. I tried for months, years, to try to squat low, just by trying to squat. I raised myself up on my heels, I went down, you know, where you have the elevation. Never really, I felt like it improved, and then it would just bounce right back to being tight. This, I found, is the best way to make gains if you're doing all the other ones with it. The first one is we got to take the ankle mobility out of it and some of the pressure on the knee when people start. So what we do is we just start a yoga block away, and that doesn't let the knee go as far over the toes as you approach 90 degrees. And we just make sure that you're just shoulder width, feet are pointed out around 45. And some people, depending on their injury, if they have knee problems, they might start here and just build a comfortable base here. And I'm making sure that my back comes forward like I have a bar. I want to pretend like I'm squatting, okay? This really trains the glutes as well. You're going to feel your quads, but as you get lower, your glutes are going to turn on because you're in this position. I don't like this. This puts just a lot more torque on the quads, more like a hack squat. If you want just quads, that's fine, but I'm trying to change the structure of the body and get you ready to squat with a bar or just improve your mobility. So I think this is better off the wall. So you come down here, first goal is just to get to 90 degrees, then the next goal is to get to below 90, okay? And once you can get here, and you've been working on the ankle mobility exercise that we showed you and everything else, because now we're gonna turn the yoga block. And just come a little bit off the yoga block. You can turn the feet out more if you need to. And if you have ankle problems, you're gonna get locked up. That's why we can't start with that. So we come down here, and now, maybe you start here, and this is comfortable for you. Okay, then eventually, remember, I got bone on bone hip, guys. Bone on bone hip. No pain, and I have a labrum tear, 180 degrees. Okay, so this is what's possible even with bone on bone. You can get comfortable in this position, then you can come off here and you can start, grabbing something and trying to move forward here, and then you get a nice shin workout. And that's kind of the stage that I'm on right now. I haven't fully mastered this, but remember, I started here. This is all I could get my entire life. So now you see what's possible even after an injury and with a severe problem in my hip. Now, a couple stretches I did not mention that I do, but I couldn't do for months on end because there was just too much pressure. This didn't make any difference because I would stretch the hell out of this before I got hurt. That didn't make any difference in my squat mobility, nothing. It opens up the hips, I think it's a great stretch, but it didn't, as far as squat mobility, didn't help. It's gonna help with other things, but not squat mobility. I didn't get any great benefit from it. If you are tight in this position here, the pigeon stretch on the bench, this will affect you. When I do this too, I try to keep it fairly straight, but when I come down, I'm turning my body. Don't go forward this way. I mean, if you're flexible enough, you can practice this angle, but much better to turn it, arch as much as you can. But I think that one could be beneficial for someone that's so tight in that, because that's definitely gonna help. It's definitely gonna hurt your ability to open up, but for me, this wasn't an issue.